Whoa, 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 guys. Stop right there. Well, first, like the stream, of course. But holy moly. Whew, what an early morning surprise for me here in Australia. $1,000 for Tesla. 100,000 electric vehicles for Hertz. I thought that company was bankrupt. But, guys, that's a big deal. That's pretty damn good. So I hope everyone's having a great day. I hope everybody has obviously, done all right in the last couple of weeks and been able to switch to potentially being a little bit more bullish than bearish. Hopefully you've seen why that happens in markets. And unfortunately, it can be very quick. Don't worry, though. There's always another opportunity out there. But yeah, this is a big move on Tesla. So we've got $1 trillion market cap. We've got 100,000 electric vehicles being bought by Hertz. Obviously, it's a big deal when you're putting them into the fleets. So, yeah, very nice stuff there. Very nice. We've also got some other big information coming out. We've obviously got Facebook after the close here coming up. So, we'll be talking about that one. We've also got Logitech there, which I know some of you own. Most of these other stocks, not many people talk about generally, but they are all coming out. And then we have a massive earnings week. We've got some great ones coming out on Tuesday as well. With the UPS, we've got the AMD, the Microsofts, the Alphabets, 3M, Visa, Twitter's, Robinhood, Enphase, one of my favorite solar stocks, and the list goes on. I mean, almost everything on this page is pretty damn amazing. So how's everyone feeling today? You feeling okay? Lunch Money says Hertz came out of bankruptcy 2 months ago. Yeah, I know, Lunch Money. I thought I'd laugh about it a little bit because, it did technically go bust. VIX here, 15.31. So this has gone down to, again, being around the same level. Very strong day. I'd say mostly led by the likes of the Tesla. And you can really see it on the right-hand side here. If you have a look at some of these stocks, Apple flat, Amazon down, Google down, Microsoft down. On any of these days, you'd usually expect the Nasdaq to be down. But when you have Tesla coming out with this 12.74% and even higher at one stage, 1,045 day, that's a huge, huge session. So what to expect next for stock like this that just had this kind of run on it? Well, I guess you've got to say, where is the cap really here? And that's going to be very difficult for you to pick because you're obviously in a growth stock. You've obviously seen PEs change drastically over the last year. You've gone from 1,000 PE, I think, over here to relatively like a 200 PE over here. And even though people say, well, PE doesn't matter, PS matters, EBIT matters, this and this, that's whatever. It doesn't matter which metric you look at. The metric is better over here than it was over here, yeah? So if you took the rating of what it had over here and then you tried to extrapolate out the price, you probably get a pretty damn big number. I actually thought that would hit around a K, blast it, and then find a little bit of resistance. But this is a pretty strong day for it. So $1 trillion was certainly going to always create like a lot of flurry, a lot of people talking. When Tesla goes on runs, though, we've seen that it can't be stopped for some time. I mean, that looks pretty damn extreme to me. But what does the chat think? What do the big brains in the chat think? Is this thing just going to keep flying? Or is it going to have a strong day like this, then consolidate for a little bit, and then keep moving? Finkin79 says it's got to pull back at some point, right? That's insane, to be honest. It's pretty big day. I mean, this is not a small stock. So whenever you put 12.5% on it, yes. Hands off pins. It's getting belted. Let's have a look at pins. Scroll on down. Where the hell is my pins? I'm somewhere up here. Did PayPal pull on it? I assume the only way this would have happened is if PayPal pulled on it. I haven't seen the news on it. Below 1,000 at the close. Fill the gap. Needs pullback below 1,000. Darth Vader said, "Did you guys chase Harry away?" Yeah. That's right. And way overbought. Yeah, but look, the thing about the Tesla is it can move. I mean, that's a big candle. That's a big candle. Some people will probably have that. 1.02 trillion, exactly. Carl Swartzwelder, very happy. Thank you, Tesla. Thank you about 20K times. I can only imagine what that means. I think it's 79 says Tom's been pretty bullish on it recently. Yeah, I have on Tesla. Yeah. Yep. It's it's the charts, guys. The charts looked much better. When you've got the charts going well, then what can you do? Let's quickly have a look through these markets. So firstly, this is a pretty big day, I think, for the old NAS. So let's go to NDX and not use the futures here. So Nasdaq's trying to get a new close high on it. We'll see how it happens into the close. I mean, obviously, I think Tesla's really riding it, and that's important to note. So if we bring up all of the sectors here, actually, I won't do that just yet. But if you really look at this, I think a lot of this is driven by that. There are some good moves here, like TDOC's up 3.25%. Twilio, Nvidia. Could someone just kind of figure out the pins thing for me? I haven't got the news on it yet. Could you just find out whether they pulled? PayPal pulled out. Yeah, I figured. Yeah. Yep. Makes sense. That's why PayPal. Actually, well, that probably should make PayPal better than 3%. We'll check that out in a second. So Nasdaq closed at high here. This is a fairly large deal. I guess I'm not happy with it going up on one stock alone. I'm not even sure if that means it's false. How many stocks here that, like, usually you don't you don't necessarily see this where it's clearly being driven by one of these bigger tech stocks. Let's have a look at the FANG. That will give us a bit of an idea of really the overall health. Let's look at the FANG. So the FANG here is up 0.34% because it dropped the most. Actually, the FANG dropped to a perfect level. Nice. I didn't see that. Yeah, so that happened today. The FANG dropped to our little zone, guys. That's actually not too bad. All right, let me go over to the weekly. All right, I can get behind that. So the FANG comes back down, hits this level. I think everyone's waiting for this Facebook earnings. Then, of course, they want to see some Google, Microsoft action and then find out. And that's why probably they're all flat. This is big earnings week, so it's tough to pick your zones other than to be always optimistic. But look, even the US 500, you look at any of them, SPX, we get that little long leg doji. What is this? It's a close above. It's already at all-time highs. You know, this thing's going, you would think. And look, does it do a bigger, deeper pullback later like that? I think so. I think we've demonstrated quite a few times that it can go on and do this and then come back and then keep going. And that is fairly traditional. I mean, basically, look, there's the high, makes a new high, comes back, gets you the deeper pullback for Wall Street to get in. And I think that's probably what people have got to prep for. Basically, be invested with your own strategy. Do whatever the hell you want to do. Obviously, I'm not telling you to do whatever. But yeah, we move to really this idea: new all-time highs, pull back down, movement back up. I was never going to be negative for November and December. It's just too strong a statistic. So let's talk about a couple of quick things coming into the close. We've got a screener here, which one of the members of the community helped us with, and that's cool. So this is from Schroders. It says US equity sector performance in high percentage in rising inflation environments, 1973 to 2020. So if you believe that we are in a high inflation environment, this could be a bit of a chart to show you outperformance versus inflation in terms of percentages and high probabilities of beating inflation. So look, obviously you've got to have your financials here. That's going to be pretty damn easy to see. Precious metals and mining, that tends to outperform. Surprisingly, we've got utilities kind of here. Healthcare, fairly good sector for it. And actually, this side here, you don't see as much outperformance. So the first ones, the ones like the consumer discretionary, the IT, the tech, that has traditionally beaten inflation, tends actually not to do as well. So if you think that we're in an inflationary environment, I think that we're not necessarily in as much inflation as people believe. We're catching up for years of being behind, but we will see. We will see over the next year and a half how bad it really is going to be once we start to stabilize. And in fact, I will ask the community, what do you guys think? Do you reckon we're in a massive inflationary environment? Like, look, clearly we're in certain inflation right now, no doubt. I mean, used cars, you go down. I know that the pump's obviously going to be higher. You're also going to go to the shops and you're going to see Your carrots are going to be more and your potato might be slightly more expensive. But I also think that they came down for about 10 years. So everything got cheaper, guys. Everything got cheaper. So is it long-term inflation? That's the question. Let's see what you guys think. Long-term inflation. Scott Morgan says it's not long-term inflation. Yeah, it might not be. I'm going to go with, I don't think QE is inflationary as much as people think. But look, it's my opinion. You guys have whatever you have, of course. I think that this is just a cool chart. If you want to snapshot it on the stream, you can always grab this. I'll keep it just blank there for a second. We'll read some other people's. Lunch Money says 10-year Treasury will reflect if there is long-term inflation. Generally, yes, it will. And where is the 10-year right now? Let's have a look here. US 10-year 1.638. Still probably the specter for the US tech stocks. But today's all about this Tesla. So people say inflationary, but it's temporary logistics issue. Could be. QE is not inflationary, but deficit spending is. Fair enough, Nick. Dr. Horton says not long-term. Too many ways to make cheap goods still. And then inflation is here to stay. We've been struggling to achieve 2% here in the States. Yes, that is true. PayPal has been on the doldrums for a bit. Absolutely, it has. Well, they tried to buy pins and the market didn't like it. And then they bailed. And whenever you get a bail, we'll have to have a look at that. So let's think about PayPal. So they pull on pins, 12.61% down for pins, goes all the way back down to the level here. Probably, I think it's a mixture of an overreaction. And then also on top of that, why did you pull? Like, this is such a good stock. And I think this is a good lesson to a lot of people. When there's an offer on the table, what do you think I do? Now, the offer will generally be, let's say, in this case, it was $70. Yeah. So there's an offer here. The stock goes close to it. What do you think I generally do in these situations? You've got to think about this in the future, guys, as well, because it will happen to you many times in life. Bail. Yeah. Yeah. Generally, I bail off. Now, the reason why is because too many of them fail. It's been a lot that have gone through recently, but in general, lots fail. So say like if you were in Slack, I'd bail it. I know there's an arbitrage if it works out, but there's an arbitrage if that for a reason, and that's because a lot of the time it will crash. So there's usually a concept you might want to place there. I mean, we talk about scaling all the time. It's just a bit of a lesson to you. Don't rely on just because someone says, oh, we're going to purchase this or this is going to happen. Traditionally, a lot of them dump. In fact, a lot of them get pulled on. And if the market reacts negatively towards things, I generally just go, you know what, I'm done with that thing. It's like Afterpay here with Square. To me, it got close enough. It's good enough. Get the hell out and then go on to the next one. I mean, I don't know. You never know. You never fully know. And there's always going to be that slight risk that people hold. And I've seen a lot fail. And it's just not worth it. Sometimes you're within 5%. And you might say, well, Tom, that's like throwing away 5%. Yeah, but you can see here today what happens with pins. And often you'll drop, 20% backwards because of that. So just remember in the future, if you're a bit shaky on the deal, I mean, obviously you make your own decisions, but you can go pull the stats on it. Maybe I'll do that sometime. And there's quite a lot that fail. Quite a lot. John Moore, $2. IBB, please. We'll check that out in just a second. So PayPal here into the close comes up, hits resistance and sells off. Now, it's probably unfairly priced in some ways now. So obviously they've bailed on pins. I'd want to read that news. But we've got to remember where it was before the pins news. So it was here. And they were thinking about buying pins. And then they've bailed. And now we're here. So we're at a discount, yet the market's gone up. Now, it's a mixture of sentiment-related reasons, but that's 9.17% down on where it was. So let's have a quick look at Square in comparison. So Square's 261, so that's been turning back around. Actually, not a bad little level here. 20, the high, the 2050. Not too bad for Square. Nice resistance becomes support. Let's go to the 2 hour. Yeah, fantastic little zone there for day traders. Not bad at all, guys. So, yeah, it's going up. In comparison, PayPal's going down. Pins has already taken off everything. So PayPal, I think, is just a mixture of sentiment to do with the board, but that can be easily switched. So I thought that PayPal was coming down to this level after we saw that whole pins thing. And if it went through, then I really do believe this is the zone that it was going towards. But there's surely some value in here. It's not acting technically. So I wouldn't use technicals on it. I would be going fundamentally PS ratios, PE ratios, that type of thing. We know it doesn't act technically because it's stuffed you here, it's stuffed you here, and it's stuffed you here. All those types of things together, we cannot give it the benefit of the doubt here on how it looks into the close. But it certainly could be an opportunity if you believe it's cheap on certain ratios. And I think I'll do that maybe after the close here on PayPal. We'll come back and revisit it because we've got a lot to cover. IBB, biotech sector, actually good little closure here coming through. Thank you very much, John Moore. I see why you're looking at this. Yeah, that's actually a significant close. So this is probably one of the better ones for the day if we're looking at it. So we've got here Beam up 2.21%, CRISPR, other biotech starting to come back into the fold, one of the beaten down sectors. So IBB, yeah, it's right back down. And it's breaking out. So this is significant. Daily, trying to get above those moving averages. Obviously, it's more of a, we haven't quite gotten above like the 200, but we are getting above the 20, which is significant. So for many people, this would be like a scaling kind of concept. Yes, that is significant. Next stop for IBB, could be all the way up here or into the highs. I'm bullish on the sector. You've got to remember that you can't expect biotechnology to be that strong right now. So what I mean by that, thanks very much, Kevin. I'll do that in a second. You can't really expect it to perform as well as you would hope in this type of market. If you look at like previous, so if I bring this up, let me show you. Okay. I'm going to bring this up for 1 second, guys. All right. So if I add in, if I go back to my dashboard, one second. Get rid of all this for a second, guys. I don't need any of this stuff. There we go. So what you'll notice is I can tell you, there is more history here if you get it. But basically, if you go 10 years ago, about 2012, look at the run on IBB. Then it basically stagnated. I'm not going to say it was a great investment after this point. It was crap. I mean, that to here compared to the market, terrible. But when you get on the right run for IBB or the right run for bio, it can be powerful. What type of sector is this? It is a mid-cycle sector. So that means we've got two cycles. We've got the cycle running into the pandemic, we've got the cycle after it, and then we've got most likely a seriously hideous crash based on my own calculations and the way I look at things. So that could be quite far away now. And I've told you many times, I think it's like that 2026, 2027 area, somewhere in there. Something weird happens, I feel. But, you know, outside of the normal kind of things you can't relate to. But yeah, midpoint investment is where this IBB generally is. So learn about your types of investment, the types of timing you want to get, and it can help you out. So that's what 2012, that would be equivalent to probably about next year for us in this current market situation. About next year. Now, I've got a couple of other super chats that I need to do here. So Kevin says, I've got a super chat from Nick. And it's $2. Can you check out Spot, please? Certainly. I like IBB. Well done there, sir. Let's have a look at Spot. Spot 2% at the resistance. Let's pull this out to a daily. See if we can get ascertain any other information. Technically is the highest closure point, which is significant in itself, Nick. So you've got no previous close as high as it's going to close today. It's also gone through and effectively said, okay, you know what? We're at this high. It's what I call like a marginal close. So the close is the key on these types of stocks. You are right. It is a marginally higher close. Remember, there's a wick. There's a gap up, then sell off. There's a gap up, then sell off. So you draw it through the bodies and the wicks here. The bodies mean everything. These are the closure points. Next stop. Well, you know the 200's a little bit of an issue, but really you're looking at that 280. So yeah, spot is marginally good. I would like it to do this. That would be fantastic. That would be a great kind of trade concept should it happen. Allows the 20 to get a bit more behind it, gets through that 200, shows you that it means business, and then it goes towards the 280 and then hopefully goes even higher. So thank you very much, Nick. I don't mind spot. The weekly, let's see what the story is on the right-hand side. Yeah, see, the story was really good a few weeks ago. That was a fantastic story down here. Great story on this one too. Very similar kind of scenario. Thank you for the donation. Joseph De Salsa, $4 or Sosa, $4.99. Would you say that Neo looks to have a clean run up to 46? Oh man, I forgot about this stock. I assume it's going because of Tesla. Yeah. Let's go Neo. So weekly, 46, you're saying. Okay, let's go to the daily. It's a flag. It's actually not a bad breakout here for this. Yes. 43 small issues, but overall, the bigger concern will be around that 46. You are correct. So there is a daily 200 here around 43. So I would probably go that and then that. Fairly clean run up. Let's go to the 4-hour. Might have to bring this back into watch list. Yeah, that's not a bad one. I mean, this is an inverse head and shoulders. Great break back. It's done the distance for the inverse head and shoulders. It's then flagged. You take the pole. So let's just take the conservative pole. Extrapolate that out. And that would put it in the middle of nowhere. So therefore, yeah, 46. You're correct, Joseph. Yeah, from a technical perspective, this is looking much better. We'll add it onto the watch list. Do I like this company? Not really. But it's done technical moves. It's not, I don't think it's as good as like a Tesla personally, but yeah. Thank you, Kevin, for that as well, helping me out there. Good work, Charles. Charles is practicing scaling as we speak, which is very cool. Darth Vader says is Square off the watch list just now. Oh, look, I just don't think they paid. I want to see them integrate something, Darth. I want to see them integrate. Integrate it. Jack Dorsey, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro? I don't know, man. They haven't really integrated. Now, this is a fantastic position. And I spoke about this in the Monday Hangout, the private one we have in the group. And I also spoke about it in the mentoring. The reason why is because it's one of those types of positions. This is a steel manufacturer. I think it looks really good on the chart. So we've got earnings coming up in 3 days, but you can see here, guys. Yeah, you got support. This is from my sleep support, resistance breakout. This is the first day of a breakout. Look, if you're always taking positions here, I mean, I'm not saying it can't come back and do this or it can't come back, and every trade is a risk to a degree, but 7.58%. That's a phenomenal gain in a day. You know where this is the technical, maybe, double bottom into probably around 26 is the first resistance. If you're going to be like that ice loop, then you've got to always have that in your plan. I mean, how are you always are you going to descale yourself? Are you going to always take profit in one day when you're happy with the percentage? I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking profits, but you've got to think, how long have you been waiting for a setup like this? This is a pretty solid setup that waits for some time. I can't tell you what to do, but just think about that, yeah? You don't always see a setup like this. You've got to be a patient beaver to wait for it. It's closed above. The scenarios now become, yes, it can pull back and then go like this, or you could just completely tank, but most likely it's done this for a reason. So it could do this, go over the 26 and 28 is a heavy resistance. So you've got to think about maybe, scaling could be the best for you. Then you really can't be too sad. Gianfranco says, tomorrow I will buy Tesla. Ooh. Tomorrow? You sure you want to do it tomorrow? If I hung out with Jack Dorsey, I'd probably yell at him on the weekend and say, Jack, please tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on, man. So 4 minutes into the close here, markets are kind of pulling back a little bit. Let's just quickly see this. So US 100 is finding that little bit of pullback. Tesla still holding above 1,000, which is strong. US 500 just kind of floating back slightly here. A little bit of profit taking maybe on the markets. Let's look at the 5-minute. See a little double top here into the close. Probably a little bit of futures action down, I would say, after we finish. David Narden, $5. FCX finally breaking out of its range. Is that a marginal breakout? Thinking about scaling in. Check out FCX now from a technical perspective, sir. Yep, that is a breakout. It's not really a marginal breakout. Marginal would be more that you can't tell that it's broken out because it's kind of going into wicks and stuff. If it holds, that's actually a higher high than any of the others. So yes, it is a significant breakout. It's come off a bit of consolidation as well, which is nice. It's another mineral metals. You know, we've been moving into mineral metals over the last week. I've made it I made it very perfectly clear. I love sector rotation and I love strength into the time of the year. So look, significant closure here. That's a nice one. We have, you know, significant kind of resistances, 42 and 44, 44 being the main one. It's a pretty good chart, bro. It's a pretty good chart from a technical perspective. Ryan Abbott says Tesla to 1,500 by Christmas. Could someone grab the PS ratios out for Tesla for me for a second? I haven't done it for today's session. And tell me, based on, let's say, January's or January's PS ratios and the current PS ratios of Tesla, what's the price? You can work it out off that. Joel G, NZ, $2. Thanks for all the great info, Tom. #1 New Zealand fan. Oh, thank you very much, Joel. I appreciate that, sir. So, look, we've come into the close here. We didn't even get through enough stock. We're going to have to start doing the close now early. Next week, when we change over to daylight savings, I'll be doing 1 hour before, and then we'll do like 10 minutes after. And what that'll mean is we can go way more stocks into the close and actually see a lot more breakouts because it is happening across the board here. And we've got some big ones today. You know, there's others as well that have gone all right. Let's have a look at HCAT. HCAT is one that I think Scott had. You know, still holding above that resistance. That's nice. Hyatt's come back and kind of finding a little bit of support here. Trips on its way back up, but we'll have to wait for that one. TTD, that's a nice little support kind of being bought off. Double moving average. See this, guys? See the 2 moving averages? If you like the TTD, going for that level up here. That's not too bad. AMC is really doing nothing nowadays. Z is coming back strong, which is super important. This is actually double bottom basing here. Should it get through? That's a very significant level. We'll be watching that one like a beast tomorrow. I'm going to watch this. Stupid earnings coming up, which kind of annoys me, but that's a good resistance to be breaking out of. So we'll watch that. PayPal obviously behind at the moment, but should hopefully start to return. We've got a PLTR breakout into the close here, guys. PLTR fan people will be very happy with this closure. That's significant. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 days kept down and a day over here. Above all moving averages, PLTR has just closed. 4% up today, but we know it can ramp. And that's one of those ones that seems to... What does PLTR do? Does anyone know? What is PLTR's almost known entity of this weird stock? What does it do? Range A says, thank you for doing the extra time at the close. Yeah, we've got to do it. There's too many stocks breaking out. There's too much recovery here. There's too many stocks behind. We've got to get into those. So it's very good. Nana, $5. Tom, what are your thoughts on maps? Thanks. Yeah, we'll check it out in just a sec. So we're coming into the close. There's the close right there. It's fairly decent. I mean, basically it proves the NDX and the US 500 above those zones. I mean, as I said, it's hard to be bearish into earnings. When markets are optimistic, remember this in the future, they will turn into earnings unless sentiment is that they've been missing, okay? And if there's sentiment that they've been missing, then it will turn down and it will continue to go down. It's very rare that happens. Usually it's optimistic, as we know. These closures are significant. There's still big bullishness. If you feel like you've missed your index to the way long, which some people will, don't feel too much the FOMO, guys. It's most likely going to do this kind of thing later on. That's very, very common to do that kind of thing there and still give another shot. And also there's a lot of stocks that are just currently breaking out, which give you opportunities. Let's just check out Facebook. We'll get that on the charts here. So Facebook earnings are coming out right as we speak. We're on the support. It's exactly the daily 200. Bam, bam, bam. Exact support here. Thank you to the 700 people joining us. Tesla is the story of the day so far, but will Facebook change the game? So it probably has just come out. Let's have a quick look here. Where are we? What am I doing? There we go. So post-market 0.96. We'll switch this with the NAS itself. There we are, 26. Of aftermarket futures for the Nasdaq, so we can watch those. We've got Facebook pretty much flat as a tack. I'll get that result as it comes out, guys. And we'll do maps while we wait for it. So Facebook 320 is technically support. It's at 328 and post-market 327. You can see the daily. The significance of this is it's pulled off twice. So if you were a crazy person and you like going into earnings, that's probably where you would have picked it up this morning. Why I say you're crazy is because earnings can crush your account as well if you don't know what you're doing with risk. We've got Matt's question here. Oh, what are my thoughts on this? Not great. It is on the full support, but here's the problem with it. It's come down with a series of lower highs or lower peaks. That's not good. So basically you got lower peaks coming in to the low. It kind of points towards weakness in the market. Remember, that means that every time this stock's rallied, the rally has become weakened. And why is that rally weakening? Because somebody doesn't want to own this stock. So MAPS does not look solid. It looks like some stupid SPAC. Unfortunately, SPACs, backdoor listings sometimes happen for a reason. So when you got a backdoor listing, it happens for a reason. And that could be because the IPO wasn't going to be that strong. There was a period of this year that this is very strong. This is a super significant support, and I could see it going all the way back down to the tenner if it gets underneath here. Big support, weakness coming in. If you're thinking about picking this up, you would want to really see a turnaround story here, Nana, just because that weakness is not ideal. Not ideal. Does that make sense? Series of lower peaks. Yeah. Amazon strikes deal with UK spy agencies to host top secret material. Okay. Dow and the S&P 500 closed at record highs. There you go. So they both got the record in. Story of today so far has been 100,000 electric vehicles being bought by the old Hertz towards Tesla, which many people will see it is Tesla going mainstream, I'm sure. And Facebook earnings. Take a look at Roku. Yeah, we can do Roku. Rip Facebook. There we go. 2.64% down. Look at that US 100. Whoa! Get down. It says get down. Well, there we go. 3.7. The earnings is bad. This will smash. Let's quickly get rid of the US 100. Let's have a look at Googs. The Googs. Do we have post-market Google? No. Why do we not have post-market Google? Can't be flat after that. Apple. Apple won't move much based on this. Microsoft. What about the Twitters? Twitter. Oh, yep. All of them go down. So what happened to Snap seems to be across all of these due to the old apples. Let's have a look at Snap again. So Snap's consolidating around that 55. So yeah, post-market, not the best for the old Facebooks. Facebook, 3/4 daily active users, 1.93 billion, estimated 1.92. Facebook, 3/4 monthly active users, 2.91. What? Don't even know why that's the result. This guy's tweeting to me. The hell? Oh, daily active. Daily active 1.93, estimated 1.92. Third quarter monthly is 2.91, estimated 2.92. I use Facebook a lot less. I use it for the marketplace. If it didn't have marketplace, I think it'd be totally useless. So it looks like the market's digesting this. Look at that. Wow. The aftermarket's just been bought up heavily. So those two numbers don't look bad on their surface. I mean, basically it's growth, isn't it? Growth of the amount of users. There you go. Why did it? Anyway, either way, it's not that great. But it's not that bad. The market may have overreacted there. All right, we'll check Roku out in just a second. Well, I mean, if you take it just based on the amount of users, it's not that terrible. I mean, it's actually growth, which is important to I think a lot of people thought that they were falling. They were actually not growing. So that post market just went 3% negative, and then as the call comes out, I guess they're getting a bit more positive on it. Now it's up 1%. I was gonna say, when I saw the number, it didn't look anywhere bad as the other one. Massey does not look not like Facebook. He says he hopes it has a slow, painful death. That's very mean, Massey. Very mean. Let's go to the daily here. So it looks like Facebook's result is nowhere near as bad as whatever the hell the market just did initially. Because if we look at, like, I don't know, anytime I see growth on a platform, that's not that bad. And that's the first figure I saw. So the daily users went up a lot. Facebook third quarter monthly active users, yeah, I mean, it's stronger. 2.91 to 2.92. It's not great. It's more in consolidation. You can tell that it's transitioning part of their business, and they'll have to get other things to grow heavily in the next couple of years. I mean, I think it's going to stagnate. I don't see Facebook improving that much from that point. So some people wanted me to look at Roku. So we've got Roku here. It's come back down. Must admit, I never have understood why this technology is supposedly good. We'll put the points through the closure here because that seems to be the key level. For Roku, this is relatively significant on the closure. It's basically not really a tweezer bottom, but certainly two rejections. For day traders, they'll be looking for that gap movement. If I was a day trader on this, I'd probably be looking for a movement above here and then just a movement, and then that movement to fill the gap and to start a rally. So I think it's one to worthwhile watch. This is a nice little candle turnaround, but you need to see that last point of it, which is follow through. And then, you get in on the TA action. So Facebook has 1.8% after the post market here. That was certainly a weird post market. Went 3.7 down, I think, its peak. Now sitting at about 2. Crazy. Casey says, lol, I'm long Facebook. And then Andrew says, Prince money. Prince money. Well, it wasn't pretty. You were probably worrying there for a second until it turned out that I don't even know why that went. I actually don't know why it went down. We saw the numbers. Why did it go down? If you have, like, the only number that really matters is it growing? But it's almost a hyper stock. You know what I mean? And it grew. A lot of bad news already priced into the stock. Absolutely, you are correct. When Snap came out, it did that. So Roku, we're talking this little price action here is not bad. We're looking for it to close. I would kind of move above this 20 again, move above these highs, and then keep going through. There are opportunities within opportunities in this market. So while it's run heavily, there are other stocks that haven't quite turned around. Let's just take a quick look at US oil. So that got very, very close. In fact, for me, it was enough. But US oil ramped hard, guys. Look at that. Oh, I mean, I was talking about that 86. Look at it. Look at that smidgen over here. So US oil gets all the way up, as we suspected. And Yeah, it pops right back down today. 4 hour 20, 4 hour 50 moving average so far has been the special sauce, but yeah, I feel like that hit for a lot of people today. And quite a few would have been like, you know what, near enough's good enough on this. I'm very happy with my US oil trade. It's been a phenomenal one. The energy sector has been one of the stronger moves. Again, for anyone joining us, Tesla is the big call here. 1,028 close above 1 trillion market cap. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Mark Wilkins and Tom Gordon. Tom Gordon wants CMG. Let's have a quick look at that for you, Tom Gordon. Chipotle. Shouldn't it be called Sugar Rush Central? Chipotle is insane. I wonder with fast food companies. So as an economy comes out, I'm just thinking about me personally. Not that I'm, the most important. The chat will know here. Do you think you will eat less takeaway or more takeaway, or have you been eating more or less takeaway since you've come out of lockdown, or whatever it is since we've been able to go some freedoms? I mean, here in Melbourne, I can't tell you because we're still not really out of lockdown fully, but I would guess less. These tend to be good plays during people's unfortunate depressions, and it's certainly a very strong looking stock. It's coming down to the weekly 20. I feel like it's going to keep going, though, to the weekly 50. Now, that is an interesting zone, 1571. I like that zone a lot. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, see, I don't like this. This price action looks bearish to me. This stock looks bearish. Then we've got Mark Wilkins asking about Blue. Let's do this. So Blue Bird. Yes, does look to be recovering. I mean, you've got the base, you've got the pull off. Certainly one of, a decent little pattern here. Got a big gap close. So yeah, it's obviously a speculative position, but it's a biotech and must have missed for some reason. And from a technical perspective, you would expect it to go to around 25 mark. Absolutely. Let's see what everyone thinks. Thad says, at the beginning of the lockdown, we were all getting takeout once a week to help local businesses, but we haven't kept up with it. When the need for help slacked when the PPP loans came out. Fair enough. Go out less, labor shortage hours, longer waits, worse experience for going out where I live. Okay. Wall Street would say you make 800% margins on rice and beans. Oh, you make great money. It's just more about, can you keep your audience coming in, or keep your customers coming in to eat the delish. Not that I've ever actually eaten Chipotle. I don't know what it's like, guys. I don't even know if it's here in Australia. I don't think it is. I just want the damn Chick-fil-A. Give us Chick-fil-A right now, okay? Come on, guys. Why are you so anti-capitalist, Chick-fil-A? Every other one of the fast food companies opens on Sunday. I know why. I know the owner said he couldn't. He wouldn't do it. And actually, it's part of the reason why it's probably held strong. So, end phase, back on the support. Resistance becomes support. We know we have the earnings. Oh, it's going to be scary. Let's see what happens here on this one. The whole TAN sector was one of the stronger sectors today. So, Invesco Solar continues to be strong here. You can notice it's in this zone of strength. So it's had that ramp due to the probably infrastructure bill discussion, etc. And then if we get that second ramp, remember, solar is still, even though you might think, oh, it went up a lot, Tom, it did, but think about where it got to. Solar is still an opportunity should you like this particular thing. I mean, look at this. This is the whole solar active index. It's right in that zone. You break out, could go crazy again. Let's do some cryptos. BTC looks pretty strong. Hit the 64, came off a tweezer bottom. Tweezer bottom, pretty good trade in itself. I mentioned this in the hangout this morning or last night that I did to do with the pre-market. So it's broken above. Great kind of closure out here. Tweezers are decent trades in themselves. Let's go to the 4 hour. Yep, there's the 4 hour breakout. Hits resistance, sells off a bit, makes sense. So I would like it to do this to allow the other coins to start to catch up, which are coming out the gate. Ethereum looks like it wants to get a new high, actually, based on this chart. This is a big daily close for it. Ethereum hits the 4374, sells off. This thing looks like it wants all-time highs now. Based on this chart, daily closure would be significant. ADA still looks crappy. KSM actually got a bad turnaround on it here. So it hit 415. It's a pretty crappy looking candle for it in comparison to the others. Coming back down to the 4 hour 20, which it's been bouncing off. See how it looks. And there's a whole bunch of others like Solana. That's been going strong. I think that hit almost all-time highs. It did hit all-time highs. So that went back up. This was, of course, the one that had all the hype on it, dropped about 60% of its value, and then came back up, which is pretty predominantly normal. What I would expect, though, guys, I think everyone's got to be aware of this, is that Bitcoin is on a massive run. Now, it's overshot what I thought it would do. I thought it would just basically go back into the highs and kind of float around there. So around here, this was my level for it. And I'm bullish on it to get new highs into the end of the year. But I do also believe there will be another 20% flash tank before we get to, ridiculous levels. And that's because it always does it that way. That's the nature of this crypto market. Cryptos crash. They do their thing. No, I didn't know that, Kevin. I thought they just had good food, but I'm not here to get political about anything, as we know. Mark Wilkins says still holding 10. Cool. And Massey says ADA is sleeping. That's correct. And you have to be able to pick when ADA sleep or slumber comes out. So let's think about it. I feel like it's still this level up here, the 230s. I know you could probably pick earlier, but you need to get through these previous highs, 232-ish. Megan T, Canadian $5. Hive blockchain, please. HIVE. All right, let's have a look. Hive blockchain. I assume it's the Nasdaq one. Yep, it's roll reversed off the previous breakout. The only problem with these types of stocks or these positions is I'm not really too sure exactly what they're doing. If it's just based on Bitcoin price or it's based on mining or whatever it is. So 450 is the peak here. You would think that's a bit of resistance. This is a fairly strong roll reversal. It seems to be trading in line with Bitcoin, at least recently, because of the way it's traded here for the last couple of days. So if Bitcoin continues to ramp, 450, and then 5, and then 550, it seems to be every 50-cent increment. It's fairly important to this stock. Unfortunately, I can't really do much more than that, Megan, because I don't know what it's based on. I assume Bitcoin price. Some mining of it. It's a decent roll reversal, though. And I think those 50-cent increments are pretty strong. Musty says, Tom, Shiba keeps going up. Is crypto a joke? Yes. When that happens, yes. Shiba, it's bad. It's bad. But then again, could you say the stock market's a joke due to short squeezes? Possibly. Slobodon Jaskowski, $4.99. Tom, check PLTO. New IPO from my town of Chicago. #1 earner per restaurant. Got in the IPO at 26. Okay, man. PLTO. Who like? Okay. Why is it so thin? Is this it? PTLO. Oh, PTLO. I was going to say that isn't it. 26 up to 42. Oh, well done, sir. So you got in on the first dot. Now, do you have a plan? I mean, you won't be able to see anything here, Slobodon, in terms of TA. I mean, what are we going to do? We're guessing, yeah. We're guessing on this one. Market cap, $3 billion. You just have to look at it based on fundamentals to other similar scenarios. I mean, that's the only way you can price this thing. You've got to look at it. Okay, this restaurant, I think it's equivalent to this restaurant, this restaurant, this restaurant. What's the PE ratio? What's the PS ratio, etc. On those ones, do the fundamental research. There's no technical here. I mean, what are you going to do? I will say that, you know what I think about IPOs in the American market? I think it's like this. Yeah, that is my philosophy on American market IPOs. Huge company will scale. Chupa says that was a bragging message, in other words. Yeah. Yep. Well done. You know, if you're up, you're up. If you're up, you're up. If you're down, you're down. Hive is the best crypto mining stock in the market, says Sean. There you go. BTC halving devotees expected an October 19th peak, then sell off December, Jan. Well, that's correct. That's the concept there. When did we actually hit the peak on Bitcoin? Let's go back over here for a second. Well, we hit there 20th, so close enough. Sell off. Wait, they think peak 19 and that's it? Nah. JR, no. That's not possible. We have to go higher next month. Then we crash. What I'm most interested in seeing is Chinese New Year next year. That's going to be interesting because we know what happened before Chinese New Year back in 18. That was pretty brutal. That was obviously the end of the bull run there. I've certainly got my timings on a lot of that stuff. Let's talk about Amazon. So Amazon 3 days away here. It's on support. Resistance becomes support. It's a critical level for Amazon. I wonder if it can get it through. I'm probably going to wait till the earnings here before making too much decision. I'm happy with letting it just play out the way it is, and then we'll come back in. But yeah, it's looking great. RK, Kathy Wood laughing at people today because of her Tesla position. Still interesting, though, that she's well done down from highs. Just shows you how many of our other stocks were going nuts and then what happens. It's a massive change around. We've got Tanner becoming a new member. Thank you very much, Tanner. Appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you as well to the 700 people here into the close. So the story so far today has been Tesla, strong markets across the board into earnings. TDOC seems to be, actually ramping here. We talked about that showing the signs of recovery, if you dare. TDOC also nice closure here. Relatively good in terms of the charts. Pins goes back down to the low ground as PayPal pull out on the deal. And then we have a whole bunch of other little breakouts. We've got the PLTR breakout here. We've got X breaking out. We've got aftermarkets. Let's have a look at Facebook again. See what the market's done with it now. 2.7%. So good ramp here, filling that gap in towards the 339 stuff. That is good stuff. Tanner says, just wanted a colored name. Well, you've got it, sir. You've got it. Camcad says, remark about the food here in Poland. People tend to order like 2 times more takeaway food than before the pandemic, 3 times more in my case. Really? Okay. Mushroom Cap says KSM and DOT. Yep, I love both. I love the KSM and the DOT. Can you check ETH? We had a look at ETH. I think it actually looks very strong. And Thad likes Airbnb. Airbnb has now been on the exchange for not a year yet, has it? Yep, Airbnb is pretty good. It hit our little resistancy, and it's consolidating. So next level will be breakout here, and let's get back on the train to go towards those 210s. 190 next stop, then 210, I feel like. It's a decent company. I'm not sure how much moat they really have. I booked, Thad, you're not going to like me. I booked hotel, Thad. I didn't use Airbnb, so okay. You know why? Because I actually used a company. I can't remember which one it is. My wife did it, but it was a website that, you know how like Airbnb, there's like quality control is getting bad, and there's just like crap in the middle of good ones. Well, there's actually quite a few procured websites where they sell quality establishments, so you don't have to go in there and be like, "Oh my goodness, I thought this was a 5 out of 5 stars." It's definitely not. It's definitely not. That happened to me once. And I said, no, I'm not doing that no more. So, yeah, we used a different program. And I've got to say, I'm very impressed with it. So Airbnb, maybe not as good. Valdo says, I missed the pre-market bibs, Tom. Well, if you want me to die, Valdo, then that's what I'd be doing. No, in all seriousness, it's just too early, bro. 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock. It's just too much. And look, the close truly, when you start getting into swing, I mean, obviously, if you're day trading, it's probably better to crack the opens. But if you can hold overnight, you can day trade pretty effectively. You're just trading a time when you actually cannot close the position, as you know. So, yeah. It's look, we'll get back to it, but only during times when it's not 1:30 in the morning open for me. Unfortunately, I live in Australia, and while the American market's great, that's just how it is. Durgesh, $1.99. Can we please look at BHP on the ASX? Sure, man. BHP on the ASX. This is the iron ore company now, and a little bit of special materials. So we've got the beginnings of the lightning bolt, which you know I love. So yeah, it's in my red zone, sir, and I like that a lot. The red zone is good. We have a $39 resistance. Obviously, they've sold part of their business too cheap. That was the stupid idea, but anyway, that's what they chose to do. So they punished shareholders selling it for too cheap because, and in the essence, the shareholders were the problem, forcing them to sell the product, sell the energy too cheap to Woodside. But anyway, that's what they've done. So we're looking here for a lightning bolt style movement. Some people will say, Tom, I'm seeing an inverse head and shoulders down here. Left, head, right. Sure. Doesn't matter how you look at it, really. Either way, this is the key. It's probably going to be up a little bit in pre-market here today, and we're looking for it to break through that zone. Certainly opportunity in the iron ore markets. Durgash. Tony Hall says issue with BHP is iron ore, of course, and they don't have the energy anymore. So if you go and have a look at iron ore futures, which by the way you can pick up some of them here. So here's the iron ore futures, guys. See iron ore, horrible, and this is pretty much directly susceptible to Evergrande situation and all of that stuff. I tend to think it'll work itself out, but look at that. It went from all the way up here at 220 all the way back down. And it's kind of like lumber in some ways. Look at look how far down it went. It's stabilizing around here, I would feel, but that is its main issue. That is the main issue. Midas Touch says, Tom, Facebook just said they're going to pump 50 billion into their stock through buybacks. Oh, yay. Yay. More crap. I mean, it's good if you're a stockholder, but geez, what are we doing here? Is this like 2010 with, Bank of America and all of the American banks buying their own stocks back to artificially inflate their price? Lame. Sorry, guys. I find it lame. Anyone else find it lame? I mean, even if you're in it, it's just lame. It's like saying, oh, we don't have anything better to do with our money, so we're going to buy back the stock to protect our shareholders, as in me, the CEO. Doesn't sound like... I hate it when they do it, especially when they continue doing it. But as we know, it does tend to pack price. So we're looking for this now on Facebook. And look, if you feel like you missed it and you waited for earnings, I mean, really, what did you miss? Okay, yes, it was it was for 3.7% down at one point, but it's 2.7% up. You've got a great base here. And if you like this because of their buyback and all that other stuff, and they didn't have as bad earnings as people maybe think, then you could be looking back here. There's still very good gains here. Just remember, being a patient beaver, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It also could have been down a lot, as we know. Ulrich Nielsen says, ATVI, don't like them, but starting to look good. Yep, Activision Blizzard. Yep, it is looking good. But we said this last week. Activision Blizzard looks quite strong. You know why I think they'll do better is because the Battlefield is not as good as I think a lot of people won't buy Battlefield. I mean, I bought it, but it's basically like a COD Apex ripoff. And a lot of people are not going to like that. The new COD is an abomination because there's a big earnings for them. You know, it's going to be big earnings. But I think because they've got, get this, they've got anti-cheat is their biggest thing this year. How can, like, people that don't know about games, anti-cheat. So basically their game is filled with hackers. Just you fly out of the thing and you get shot in the head straight away. That's just how it is. Just like bang, done, you're finished. Every game. So they've now introduced anti-cheat, which I believe you have to pay for, which I'm sure some people will. So look, yes, on the charts, it does look pretty good. You got lightning bolt, got that closure out. Looks pretty strong, Ulrich. Even if you just took the distance, let's see what that pulls you in. See, that's the only problem. I feel like it's kind of already done that one. But as we know, there's a lot of movement up to, you know, this area here, which is about that 87-ish zone. Charge you not to be hacked. That's pretty much correct, yes. Love to hear your thoughts on plug. Sure. I mean, if anyone has another opinion on it, let me know. What's your opinion? Is that fairly correct? Is that fairly correct about Activision Blizzard? I mean, you can tell me if it's not. That's just my thought process. Plug looks pretty good. That's a marginal close. Why it's marginal is because daily 200. And then there's also a little bit of spiky LAR over here, which we're not too much of a fancy. That's not the best, but yeah, this is a fairly good close. It's not weak, fairly strong, significant level, as we know. Great closure here. Fantastic trade if you got it. Confirmation close. Boom. Goes it. And then now we're looking for this. Could be a good ramp here in plug. Thanks to Tesla, etc. There's no charge for the anti-cheat system. Oh, thank goodness. Well, the new game, well, don't buy that new one, the Vanguard. Ugh. Ugh. Terrible. Facebook PE very cheap in relative to its peers due to price drop. I'd agree. Now that the worst is out of there, it's a bit better. Barack says Facebook was supposed to come up with a new brand name this week. Interesting. That would be really bad, Von Louis. EA are probably going to lose their franchise for FIFA. Ooh, that would be bad. Totally agree. It's all about pay to win to a degree in the free game, being Warzone. But just remember, you still don't expect, like, if you want people to buy little skins and stuff, you really need them to actually be able to play the game and not just get, you know, hacked. All right, guys, that probably brings us to the close. So look, it was a fantastic day here for Tesla holders. If you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I was very bullish on the TA. I mean, you don't have to necessarily be bullish on the company itself, though it certainly has been improving fundamentally. And it just shows you, I guess, one thing is when the TA switches, you've got to pay attention to it and put your opinions at the door because that doesn't really matter about the company. So you've done well. Post market, it's up again. I'll make a video covering all of this. Obviously, Apple's still an interesting perspective as well. Underneath the 150 still coming into earnings. I wonder if this muted idea of, you know, the Facebook and the Snap and all of these things is just holding these down. Usually we see more buy the rumor. I mean, there is a buy the rumor here, don't get me wrong, on Apple, but I think the fact will either take you past 150 or not. So probably going to be opportunity after the earnings here. Amazon, another one that I think once the earnings comes out, this is going to be fantastic. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see what happens. Google's down on the pre-market, post-market, and then back up thanks to the Facebook earnings. And the FANG overall is the interesting one. You look at the FANG here today, came down to a nice little buy zone. Bam. If you're a fan of the FANG, look at this. Boom. Similar pullbacks as well. Let's get the pullback distance. This controls the market. Yeah, exactly the same distance. So if you're taking those two distances and you believe in leg runs, let's have a look at the first run here. Okay, let's get that first run up, guys. Whoops. Don't be like me and actually get it correct. There we go. First run, 8. There we are. First run. Second run's a little bit longer. Okay. Third run into the highs. Yeah. Hey, makes sense to me. No worries, Darth Vader. Cheers to you as well. Thank you very much for the new members. KC, thank you very much for the like. Appreciate the subs, guys. Appreciate the support. We will be moving next week to 1 hour before the market rather than doing half an hour before, half an hour after. I think that's going to be better. That's interesting. Deliberately sabotaging the game to affect the stock and keep bonus targets. That's like sneaky. I wonder if they did that. Anyway, everybody, good luck. Hopefully you did all right today, and we'll see you in the next video and, of course, the next live tomorrow. Half an hour still for this week before the close. And to give you a bit of a rundown, tomorrow, big day, be there, because we've got AMD, Microsoft, Alphabet, Visa, Twitter, Robinhood, Enphase. I can't even keep up. Wowzers. That's going to be big. And then, the scariest earnings this week? I'm going to circle it right now. Because you know why? For the last, 3 earnings now? They have failed. Will they fail again, or will it be, based on the price action, a lot better? T-Dog's going to be scary, guys. Catch you for now. Bye.